stop comparing and choose you? Isn't that what it's called? Okay. So is it free? It is, okay. I'm Beverly Aldridge, and so I'm the hostess for Belinda. Our speaker today stepped onto the stage in 7th grade to sing her first solo and has continued singing and speaking to audiences internationally. Audience love Belinda's energy, her combination of high glamour and tell it like it is, straight talk, and will pull you in and keep you engaged. At the end of her talk today, you will know you have had an experience. Leave feeling inspired, hopeful, and more confident. Belinda is from Las Vegas, where she holds her 7th WOW, the World Conference for Women. We're going to give you flyers after that. So the first weekend in August, showing women how to shine their divine. She is the founder and leader of Fun Fearless Female, global community of Christian women, and is an author. Her books are available here today, and she would love meeting and chatting with each one of you. We are so pleased to have Belinda here today. Normally she charges $3,000 for these events, and she comes today as a gift to us to support our event. Belinda believes each woman is amazing, brilliant, and extraordinary. For you all have the greatness within you to shine for the world. As a women's empower mentor, she mentors women to empower themselves and shine. Please welcome dynamic and energetic Belinda.
So it works out well because I wanted to push the record button from the back and come forward. So, hello, you amazing, fun, fearless females. Are you feeling fun and fearless today? Yeah. Okay, what's something you learned? What's a takeaway from anybody or any class you were in? What's something you've learned or you liked or whatever? Anybody want to share something? Something Jen said maybe?
You don't need to heal first and then be happy. You can choose to be happy and live your life now, and the healing will come in the process.
Oh, I love that. Who said that?
Ben, next door, was it Ben?
Bob.
Okay, I didn't hear his class. Excellent, yeah. Anybody else? Something that you learned or was a new idea or just reaffirmed something you already knew? Anything? Okay, all right. So we are going to take a little journey together here, and you have 2 pieces of paper that don't write on them until I tell you what to write, okay? I'm going to take you, how many of you have ever worn anything tight? I mean, really tight, like you couldn't wait to take it off. Yeah, how many again? Okay, so what was that you wore that was so tight?
Leggings.
Leggings, okay. Anybody else? Huh?
Levi's.
Levi's. I hate jeans. I cannot wear jeans. They are like the most uncomfortable thing. Almost everybody knows that. Mine is pantyhose. Do you hate pantyhose? They like grind into you, and if you're one of those flat belly, tight rib, got your 6-pack, you probably don't feel those pantyhose, but most of the rest of us girls, we do. I was a Mary Kay Pink Cadillac director for about 25 years, and every day of my life I wore pantyhose and high heels and a dress. That was just part of the deal, right? So I just couldn't wait. When I retired myself from Mary Kay, I retired those pantyhose. I think I've only worn them maybe a dozen times in the last 10 years. I had a funeral or someplace to go to. I needed to look nice and wear a dress. So can you imagine with me, just visualize. So when I would get home at the end of the day or come out of my office, what are the 2 things I took off? I went in my room and I took off the pantyhose and the bra! Yes! I mean, we're all women in here. We can be real, right? I probably won't post this video to the world. They might not approve. They'll say, don't bring her in. It's like, oh my gosh. So I want you to imagine with me, the real title of this class is, take the girdle off your brain and let it out. Okay? We all know what a girdle is. You may have never worn one. Or Spanx. You younger ladies, you probably never wore a girdle, but you've worn Spanx, so you know what they are. All of those things that hold us in, right? So we're going to do a little thing together. So get stuff out of your hands, and we're going to put the girdle on our brain to begin with. So we're going to, if you don't mind messing up, my hair's already ruined for the day. So it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, I want you to press your head really tight. And so I'm going to talk a couple minutes, and I want you to leave it on there because I want you to feel the pressure. Here's what happens. When we have a girdle on our brain, so to speak, we are keeping in all the negativity. We're keeping in all the frustrations, all of the doubts, all of the lies, all of that negative self-talk that you tell yourself every day. And it never goes out because we just keep it on. And sometimes we're afraid to try new things. We're afraid that we're going to be rejected. We're afraid that people aren't going to like us anymore. Or maybe, we're just afraid we might be so successful we don't know how to handle the success. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we are afraid of, and all kinds of negative self-talk that happens. So I know you're about ready to say, okay, come on, Dylan, it's time to take this thing off. All right, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then off. So we do it all at the same time. And when you do it, I want you to take it off and let your hands be lifted. So 1, 2, 3, off. Oh, now, what did that feel like? Anybody?
Cracking your head.
Freeing, When you take the girdle off your brain, you can allow for new things, new ideas, new experiences, new possibilities. Because as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we got, right? If you keep telling yourself the same lies over and over again, that's what your life is going to be. It's never going to change because we're keeping that all compressed in our head, and it's like going round and round and round. We have to do something to change that, to release ourselves, just to release ourselves and let go so that we can invite those new possibilities in. So how do we really do that? Like, well, that sounds good to Linda. I want to do those things. So how do I do that? So I have the ABCs of keeping the girdle off your brain. Or taking it off if you see it coming back, like, oh no, go away. The ABCs, and I'll tell you what they are first, and then I'll fill it in. So the first one is accept or affirm yourself of who you are as a human, really, just even as a human, as a woman. B is to believe you have choices. And C is to choose. Believe you have choices and choose. And to me, I submit to you, choose you. All right, so in the A's, we're going to start with the affirm yourself. In general, who you believe you are in the universe is going to determine all the choices you make in everything else of your life. There are two main schools of thought. One is what I call, and other people do, the chaos theory. The world, the atoms and meteors exploded into space and then trickled down, and little amoeba started growing, and everything came about, and now all of this beauty and expanse of the world, and babies being born, and our bodies are amazing, just amazing. But in that chaos theory, nobody's special. Everything's random, just however the universe exploded, and that's one theory, okay? Then there's the other theory, which is creation, that we are created, that we do have a purpose, and we're unique, and we're special, and everybody has a gift. So if you believe that, then you can begin to believe that you yourself, because you might, in general, say, well, yeah, I believe, that we're created, and whatever God that you believe in. I'm not telling you, you will know what I believe at the end of the day. I'm not going to preach it, but you'll know. But whatever you believe, that how that came about in your life and in your mind. But there's a big difference from being created and having a purpose or being random in an accident. So y'all can see the difference in those two. So depending on what you believe, you just need to know what it is you do believe. Rather than just, sometimes our lives just are so busy and we're just doing stuff that we don't very often take time to really just look at, well, what do I think about that? What is my opinion or thought on that? Okay, and part of that affirming what we believe is to also realize, are you going to believe the lies of the world, or are you going to believe truth about yourself? Now the world, just taking it as a random, the world wants you as a woman to think that you are ordinary. It wants you to think that you don't have value, that you are just there. I'll tell you a little story about myself, and you'll know why I'm really acquainted with this. The world wants you to think you're less than, that you are not worthy. And there's a main reason why that philosophy is out there. Anybody know what that is, or given that any thought? Why would the world want you to be or feel that you're less than, that you don't have value, that your opinion doesn't matter? It's about money. The bottom line is money. So think with me. If you go to a party and you wanna be the gal that walks in and everybody says, oh, we're so glad you're here, and you got this big smiley thing, and the TV commercial will tell you that you better get your crest strips or you're not gonna have all those friends. Because that's the reason you do, because you're using crest strips and now your smile is all pretty white. You know what commercial I'm talking about, right? Okay. And if you want to have a hunky guy like Matthew McConaughey, then you better buy that whatever car it is. And I don't even remember the car, Chrysler or Lincoln maybe. You know, and of course he will be in the car when you go buy the car. That's what they're trying to get you to believe. So all of that advertising thing is all to make you feel less than, so you will buy their product, so they will make money. So when you start realizing that whole agenda, and I'm all about money. I mean, I think everybody deserves to have a good income. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, you know, when we're trying to be programmed to be invisible and to not really have an opinion, and that we need all of them to have value, that's wrong. That's just wrong to make us feel that way. So those are the lies. So I'll refer a few times kind of about the lies of what the world tells us, because you need to know what the truth is for you. Now, some of you maybe were raised in an environment where you were told that you know that you were stupid, or that you were worthless, and who in the world do you think you are? I would really hope to think that nobody's had anything like that.
I had more of the why can't you be more like?
Oh, okay. You know, and so then it's always a comparison thing to make you, you know, it makes you feel less than, you know. So I was raised, my parents were both from the South. My dad was in the Air Force, and we went to the Southern Baptist Church. Now, I don't know, that's a triple hitter right there. You know, the military thing from one side, Southern women, there were certain expectations, and then Southern Baptist Church was all about do not, don't drink, don't smoke, you know, don't have any fun, should have work on, you know. And of course, as a teenager, that's all I said. I was like, what? Can I have any fun? No. So it was years, y'all, and what I was told was children should be seen and not heard. Speak only when spoken to. Pretty is as pretty does, and basically just not to have an opinion on anything, and if you did, don't tell it. And I will tell you, sometimes my mother still to this day will say, honey, do you just always have to be out in front of everything? And I said, yes, mother, I do. I mean, that's who God created me to be, you know, but she's not that way, so she can't understand that in my personality. And I love her, she's 93 and amazing. So, as we look at that, and it was years till I found that I actually had a voice, and I did have choices in my life. And once I realized that, I knew I had to share that with everybody. That's why I do what I do, because I so believe. And the more I've learned, and the more I've been able to take and make more of those choices, and realizing the freedom that comes with that, that's what I want to share with everybody. That's why I'm here, to share that with you. Because if even one of you decides that you can make a choice in your life that takes you out of that comfort zone and just scares you a little bit, and you do it, then yay, then I'm going to applaud you. It's an amazing thing to really realize that. So as we're going down there, so women have in general a little bit of a hard time saying good things about themselves. We are really good at negative self-talk. Would y'all agree? Does anybody here do any negative self-talk? Anybody want to volunteer one of those negative self-talks that you say to yourself?
I'm fat.
Okay, I identify that. That's one I've told myself for many years. So we're going to come back, but thank you so much. You know what? That was so good of you. I'm giving you a piece of candy. That's what this candy's for. Give it out there. So, anybody else have one? Somebody want a piece of candy? Tell me what your thing is.
Talk too much.
Oh, you talk too much. Woohoo! We could be on a baseball team. My husband just closes his eyes every time I throw something. He shakes his head. So we're really good at the negative. So now I'm going to ask you, well actually since I'm on this, because I don't want to come back to it again, I want you to write down on the white paper, what is that negative thing that you say to yourself? Maybe it's a lie that you know that you grew up with, somebody telling you that, you know, that your opinion doesn't matter. Whatever that looks like to you, write that one thing, that if you could just get rid of that out of your brain, you would be so much much better if you could get rid of that one negative thought. Cause we're gonna get rid of it in just a little while.
Just write one thing.
Just right, and you can write a couple if you want to, that's up to you. But just let me tell you, you're gonna write positive things about every negative one you say. Cause I want you thinking and leaving here thinking positive about yourself. All right, good, and thank y'all for sharing ahead of time, thank you for sharing. Okay, so our next, I'm gonna ask you 4 questions, and on your pink paper, I need to show y'all the video first. Okay, I'm gonna show you a video, and there's a choice. And I want you to, at the very top, because you're gonna have 4 questions on the pink paper, but at the top of the pink paper, I want you to write which door are you gonna choose. Okay, I'm gonna show you the video, and you're gonna tell me which door would you choose. Oops, down. Down. I'm clicking through because I don't ever keep up with myself. And the music's a little hard to hear, but I think you can hear the ladies.
It was my choice. And now I will question myself for the next few weeks, maybe months. We had an option of 2 pathways to walk, and they led to 2 doorways. It was a bit confronting, actually, to be honest. To see these big signs and feeling that you had to choose and be self-conscious of how you perceive yourself and perhaps if it lines up with how the rest of the world perceives you. I went through the average door. Really? Yeah. Oh my gosh. No. I didn't even hesitate. 漂亮对我的概念来说，就是好像明星那种要可及的那种。我走的是一般。Mas eu acho que mais porque eu me arrependi da escolha porque era diferente do que eu vivo, é diferente do que eu sou. Am I choosing because of what's constantly bombarded at me, what I'm being told that I should accept, or am I choosing because that's what I really believe? I walked into that door which said average and I didn't feel really good after that because obviously I had rated myself average and nobody else. Todos os dias eu passo pela porta comum e ontem foi um dia único e eu optei por passar pelo bonita. I wanted to go through the average door, but my mum just pulled me over to the bottom door. That's quite a triumphant feeling. It's like telling the world, I think I'm beautiful. I just wish more young women realized it. 要是再给我一次机会做我的善良的话，我觉得我应该会选很美的善良。I think I would walk through the beautiful door. Acho que a porta bonita está completamente aberta para mim. Maybe I could walk in that door. You can. Next time I look in the mirror, I will see somebody really good looking back at me. Beautiful is a great word. So why not see what's on the other side of that?
So what did y'all think? How many of you would have gone, will you participate? I mean, I don't wanna put you on the spot. How many of you would have chosen the average door? Okay. Kat, and the rest of you, would you done the beautiful door? Good, good. Cause it all depends, and here's the thing, of the outward beauty, what we look like on the outside, because that's how we're very often judged, is our outward appearance. But yet beautiful really is a word that encompasses it all, wouldn't you agree? Beautiful is who you are as a person. What is your character? What do you have to give to the world? What is your, what passion? What is your message that you'd like to share with the world? So when you begin to think about it like that, maybe you are a wonderful best friend. You know, sometimes too we think of talents that way, that, you know, you have to have a talent that's like all out there, movie star, you know, doing those kind of things. But how about the fact that you are a great friend? You listen when people talk to you. That's a, man, that is a rare thing in today's world. There's so much noise in the world that for somebody to actually stop and take a moment to actually listen to you, or for you to stop and listen to someone else, that's a beautiful gift right there. So thinking of those things of who you are as a person, not just on the outside, that's just the first layer of who you are. And so as I'm gonna ask you these next 4 questions, and it is looking at the whole of you. One of them is a physical trait that I'm gonna ask you. But on your pink paper, just write the answer to these four questions. And the first one is, one thing I love about my body. So that's a physical question, okay? One thing you love about your body. And sometimes it's hard to think of something good about ourselves, isn't it? Like, come on.
This is on the pink.
Huh?
On the pink.
Yes, on the pink. All right, the second one is, one thing I appreciate about myself, and not the same one as number 1, okay? Because you might have, whatever. You have fabulous hair and you love that part of yourself, but that's still number 1. You can't use that for number 2 also. All right, so one thing I love about my body, one thing I appreciate about myself, one kindness that I gave myself or showed myself in the last couple of days. I mean, what it could be today, the fact that you left your normal kind of a Saturday and came here to give yourself the gift of learning and being with other women. Could be you took a bubble bath last night. Whatever that is, some kindness that you gave yourself. And then the last one might be a little bit harder. For some people it is, I like myself because. I like myself because. And all of those are on your little pink paper. As y'all continue, I'll be watching, but you can go ahead. One of the things as we look at that whole affirming and accepting ourselves is the fact that we so often compare, and that actually was the title they had on here, which was, you know, stop comparing yourself and choose you. Because we, and I've taught this is my 3rd time today, and I'm saying, have I talked about this yet? Okay, so, when we compare ourselves, we're always gonna come out lacking because we compare our not so good thing to somebody else's greatest. My always example is, I cannot bake a Christmas cookie to save my life. I have tried to learn how to do a Christmas cookie. I've, you know, watched the video, and I don't know, I'm not a baker, not really much of a cook. That's not my gift. And it used to bother me because, you know, the kids, there's always the cookie mom who could bring all these fabulous cookies for PTA and for the homeroom and all that stuff, and that just wasn't me, and it used to bother me. Then I finally, as I got a little bit older, finally realized that what difference does it make? She is great at that. I could compare myself to her till eternity, and I will never be as good as her, so why should I beat myself up about that? You know, I have other gifts that I can do. Each of you do too. So chances are there's somebody or somebodies in your life that you do comparing against. It could be your sister. Now, my sister is amazing. I love her dearly. From the time she was 20 to 50, she was a personal trainer. Now, let me just tell you, she had, I would say, a body I would die for, but no, I wouldn't die for her because I wasn't willing enough to do all the work she did to have that body. You know, so we also have to look at it. Do I want to starve myself and work out 7 hours a day? And she taught aerobics classes for like 6 hours a day. I'm like, insane. I don't want to do that. So I just finally decided I'm not going to be, you know, jealous is harsh. I'm not going to be sort of envious of how fabulous she looked. She was up on billboards and everything. It's like, oh my gosh. But I realized that that was her. That's what she wanted. Those were the choices for her life, and they were great choices, and they worked for her. But I decided to go down a different path, and I've been very happy with my choices. Now, you know, I mean, we've always gotten along, but we're even better now once I got through that mental shift in my own mind. Because sometimes there are people that we compare ourselves to, that it kind of strains the relationship. And, you know, I've seen that in other families. Fortunately, we didn't get to that point. I finally just admitted, you know, I'm jealous of you for your body. And she said, what? You know, turns out she was jealous of me because I did better in school than she did. I mean, don't we do crazy things to ourselves? So when we can stop the comparison, so whatever your thing that you want to, and I'm not saying we can't get better, we always want to get better, right? So if you want to be healthier, you make different choices, whatever that looks like. If you want to learn the Excel program because you think that'll help you in your business, then you take a class and you learn it, you know. So there's lots of things we can do to better ourselves, but trying to compare ourselves to other people is always going to make us feel bad. So when we can really stop those comparisons and really accept what your gifts are and looking at that. So that's why we're doing this positive, negative thing. So I'm going to invite you to come up in the, up here there are 6 bowls. And what's going to happen is, let's see, did you have an extra one of these? Yes, you did. Okay. This is magic, okay? You're going to bring your negative thoughts and we are going to dissolve them and make them go away. And while you're dissolving it, I want you to take, if you have to bring your pink paper with you, I want you to think or even say quietly to yourself those positive things that you said about yourself, while at the same time as you're just spinning this negative thoughts, this negative comments that you tell yourself, and it just dissolves right in the water. And you may remember this sometime in your life. I've done this for several years, and I've had women come back and say, you know, I still remember just dissolving that, because whenever they start, you know, those things will always try to come back. She said, no, I dissolved that, that's gone. I am in the positive things. So saying those positive things to yourself helps to disperse and to get rid of that. So I'm gonna invite you all to come back. There's 2 over there, 2 up here, and 2 here. So come dissolve your negative thought in the water and watch it disappear. Not the, well, you can take the pink to read it so that you're thinking the positive thoughts. Pretty cool how that just dissolves in the water, isn't it? To see all that negativity go away. And if you think of something like when you're home, you can do the same idea at home, but you may not have the magic paper to do that. But you could write it down and you could tear it up in teeny little pieces and flush it down the toilet. But don't tell your husband you did that, because he'll tell you you're going to stuff up the drain. You know, you do it a little small. Or put it in a safe bowl and burn it. There's lots of things, because when we do something physical, it makes a difference when we can go back to that place in that mental place where we did that, and it can make a difference of where we go there. Excuse me. So when you believe that you have choices in your life can change. You can change how you get up in the mornings. You can change what is your intention for the day. So when you get up in the mornings, it could be, I am so sorry, you guys. Because this is my 3rd time, people are like, did I already say that about being intentional? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm losing it. So how do you get up in the morning? Did I talk about your job if you hate your job? Okay, good, now I know where I am. I mean, I knew where I was, but I didn't know if I'd already told y'all. So when you get up in the morning, let's say if you hate your job, and you get up and think, oh, I've got to go to work today. Oh, I hate my job. It's going to be a miserable day. I've heard women say this when they have jobs that they hate. So if you work for somebody else, and maybe that's what's happening. If you work for you, you better change your boss, okay, and make your boss do better with you, because that is a real choice. But you can also wake up instead and say, just wake up and say, I'm alive, thank you, Lord, for the day, and like, I'm gonna go find one thing, go find one positive thing at that job. There will be something if you look for it. If you're only thinking that it's gonna be a miserable, terrible day, it will only be a terrible, miserable day. But if you tell yourself, and every day you look for one good thing, you will begin to change. Your perspective will begin to change. You're probably not gonna change them, although I've heard of stories where the person started changing, looking for good, and the people started reacting to her differently. It's kind of a cool thing, so you never know. But you can't go in and, I'm gonna be so nice, I'm gonna change them. But, you know, it can't hurt, right? So look for that something good. If your intention is to be more positive, if you believe you have choices, then you can choose to be more positive. So for instance, I'm gonna use an example of a friend of mine. Man, she has a short fuse when it came to driving in the car. So let's say that you've decided you're gonna live a peaceful life. You're gonna change, and you're gonna look at things differently, you're gonna be more positive, and you're gonna just live more peacefully. And you're just not gonna get upset about all these stuff. So, this would be my friend. She's driving down the road, everything's going good, left the house on time, not running late, and she's going down, and lo and behold, if somebody doesn't just smack right in front of her, and you know, one of those people that like crosses 3 lanes of traffic, and you kind of have to, you may not stop, but you have to really slow down. So you have a choice right there. Are you gonna keep with your intention of being peaceful and positive? Or are you gonna go, you know, depends on what you've chosen for your life, right? And it really works when you do those things. So then you just say, okay, they didn't hit me, I can keep going, I'm gonna still be on time for work. You can just shake it off. And you don't have to go to the office and say, do you know what happened to me, blah, 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 and then you tell everybody you know, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, you've lived that 2-second thing all day and you're miserable. Okay? Or you cannot. You can go over and say, man, I was so lucky, I almost had an accident this morning, but I'm okay, nobody crashed into me. Difference? Same exact scenario, right? So we have those kind of things that can happen in our lives all the time, all day long. I know there have been several times when I've been leaving the house and I'm like a crazy person. I don't do this anymore. You know, answer one more phone call before I leave the house, or try that one more thing, and then I'm running late and I get upset with everybody else because now I'm the one who chose to take the clothes out of the dryer, then I left a little bit late. But I try to still keep that mindset of, you know, I've been times where I've gotten on the highway and there was an accident that you know just happened 5 minutes ago. And had I, you know, instead of being upset that I got that last phone call or some interruption, realizing that maybe it was for my good. It kept me from being in that thing. If we really try to look at maybe there's benefits in some of these things happening to us or happening surrounding us. We didn't choose the pandemic, right? No, who would have? You know, you didn't choose that you lost your job or your husband lost his job. You didn't choose that someone in your family passed away or that somebody has cancer. But how we react to that, how we want to get through those things, that part is our choice. You know, to choose how we're going to live through that. The pandemic was terrible. Nobody wants it. But there were many good things that happened because of that shift. Families started having dinner together that had maybe never had dinner together but a couple times a month. Families learned, I have a friend that they started doing game night. And she said, we never did game night our whole life. And you know, during that time they decided, well, we're all home, we're kind of all stuck here together, we'll do a game night once a week. There are more women who have gone into business and more entrepreneurs than ever before. More women taking out small business loans. So it was a time that made us all shift how we think and how we do business and how we do our life. So when we look at things on how can we take this and not resist the change, and it doesn't have to be the pandemic I'm talking about. There are things that happen in our life that we get resistant to. It's like, I don't want to change, I'm kind of happy right here. But we never know what's in that next step? What's that next phase that could be really good for us? So I think we spend so much time resisting that we really miss out on a lot of opportunities and a lot of blessings that can come. And as women, let's just face it, we like to hold on to everything. We like to keep under control or what we think is control, right? And so it's like holding a bunch of helium balloons. So I want y'all to stand up and I want you to fist your hands. And I want to really tight, like almost to, so you can feel your nails or the tips, okay? And in your hands are these helium balloons. And in those, and in your mind, I want you to think of putting a name on those balloons. What are the things that you're holding on so hard to that maybe you don't even like? Maybe you're on a committee that you don't even want to go, and every time it comes Thursday night to go, you roll your eyes and say, oh, I just don't want to go. You know, most often there are those things in your life that you're holding on to that you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or you're afraid of what they'll think of you if you resign, or whatever that might be. We had a very interesting time back in 2011. We lost 80%, we own a company, and we lost 80% of our business in a 30-day period. The client said, you have 30 days and you're fired, basically. So we had to shut down 3 offices, we had to lay people off, we had so much debt. It was really an interesting time. But part of that was, one of my balloons was the fact that we were still paying, because we were doing, up until that point, we were doing really well and all that. So we were paying the phone bill for our kids and their car insurance, and they were in their 20s. Well, I had to go to my kids and say, you know what? Our life just changed. We can no longer do this. You have 30 days. We got 30 days. They got 30 days. So what are in your balloons is the point. All of that. Think about that for a minute. And then what I want you to do is I want you to gradually begin to open your hands and begin to release that pressure. That pressure you feel of always having to be everything to everybody. What's in your balloons? And as you open them, Jen alluded a little bit to this about opening with palms up. And as you do that, let your palms open up as you release your balloons. And just leave your palms open there if you would, as you let those go. Because what happens when your hands are palms up, you now can receive the blessings. You can receive the opportunities and the ideas, the new things in your life, because your hands are open. Your heart is open. Your mind is open. You don't have the girdle on your brain anymore, right? So your mind and your heart is open to receive new and different and wonderful things. We just never know what's really ahead. But we never will, is my point, until we release those things that are holding us back. Ta-ta. And because you were so great to cooperate with me, you get candy. I'm coming around over there. And when you get your candy, you can sit down. And just think of those little Hershey kisses are kisses and blessings that are coming your way, whatever that is in your life. There you go. I'm going to put 2 there. It's easier for me to do 2 hands. There you go. I think I actually grabbed it myself this time. Ta-da. Thank you, ladies. All right, everybody got their candy? All right, perfect. So, these are questions for yourself. And that is one of the things in my book and also in the workbook. I ask you questions and I always give you room, space to write down the answers. So help you just think about these things a little bit. The book does all the explanations, and it actually has some places too, and of where you can fill it in. But what's kind of fun about this is that it's called Fun Fearless Female, How to Step into Your God-Sized Dreams. So say someday you get up and you're just feeling fearful. So you can go and just go read the chapter on fear. You know, and another day, it's like, oh, my life's so boring, I just need a little fun. Go read the chapter on fun. You know, so there are different chapters that you can read individually, and you're just like, oh, I need to dream. How many of y'all would you say that you have a dream that you've always wanted that you feel is still on the back burner? Anybody still have a dream that is there? You don't know how it would happen, you don't know what it would look like, but that little inkling of a dream that's somewhere on the back burner. Anybody have any of those? Okay, yeah. And that's when you read the chapter, Dare to Dream. Okay? Because you have that dream for a reason. reason. You know, and again, I don't know what that looks like for you. It could be most anything, but it's powerful to dream and allow yourself to start taking one little step towards whatever that dream might be. It could be a big dream. So let's say, I'll give you a couple examples. Let's say that you didn't graduate from college and you always wanted to, and it goes through your mind, it's like, oh, I wish I'd gotten my degree. And you said that your family's probably heard you say it 100 times, and maybe they even said, well, Mom, why don't you go do it? Or why don't you go to whatever that is? And I'd say, yeah, so first, take the first step. Maybe call the community college and find out, what does it even mean? What does it take to sign up for a class? And then maybe go take one class. I don't suggest you go out and take 5 classes at once. If you haven't been to school in 20 years, it might be a big change. So go out and take one class and see how that is. It is taking those small little steps. Again, I go back to the cooking and baking. If you're a fabulous cook and you always wanted to own a restaurant or you wanted to own a bakery, what would that look like? What kind of stoves would you need? What did you want the decor to look like? How much would a lease cost on a building? What kind of little papers would you put the cupcakes in? When you start making tiny little steps, just information gathering, you will find that sparks start happening, little things start happening, because now you're kind of watering that seed and getting little sprouts of ideas and thoughts, and it's really pretty wonderful. It really, really is. So when you think about what your dream is, thinking about taking it off the back burner, and it's not gonna go from here to there in one thought. However, the journey that you take, those steps can start right away. So I really want to encourage you to be choosing yourself. Choose your dreams that you want. Choose how you want your character to be. When I was in college, I was a cheerleader, and there was, we had guys and gals, and I was on this one side of the gym, there were a couple of other people on the other, and one of the cheerleaders, Charlie, said to me, he said, Delinda, you see that girl, you see Jackie over there? And I said, yeah. He said, you know what? She's never said one negative word about anybody. I said, wow, now that's impressive. And it like stopped me, and I said, wow, I just was so impressed. And I decided that minute that that's who I wanted to be. And I've spent my life since that point being that person, that I'm not gonna gossip, I'm not gonna talk negative about people. Now, I'm not saying that I've been perfect, because I'm sure I have. And there have been a couple times when I've caught myself almost getting into when I hear other people doing it, and it's like, no, and not get caught up in that drama. So I encourage you, if there is a character trait that you would like to be better at, maybe, I don't even know what it could be, but if there was one that you wanted people to think of you, oh, she is so honest, she never lies, she always is a woman of her word, she does exactly what she says, that's a pretty good character reference, isn't it? If that's not you, and you wanna be, you can decide right now, just right now in your head, say, you know what, that's what I'm gonna be. So that's the power of choices, that we can choose who we want to be, we can choose what dreams we want, you can choose, the bottom line is, you can choose you. Choose what you want and how you want to live your life with your own talents and what you can give to the world, who you can be, even more than doing. It's like, who do you want to be? Choose yourself, because you're worth it. You are amazing. You're unique. You're extraordinary. Nobody is just like you. Nobody has your same fingerprints. Nobody has your same DNA. Even twins, identical twins, do not have the same DNA. There's difference within all those chromosomes and all that stuff. I even looked it up before I came, just to make sure that was still a scientific fact. And it is. So, who knows, science could have changed and maybe I missed something. But it says no, that they don't. Within all of that, there's still some differences. So believe in yourself, believe in who you are and who you're created to be, and make choices that validate you. And it's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's not being like prima donna thing. That's what, again, we've been trapped into that. If you start believing in yourself, or you start going for your dreams, or you think you're all that, those are the negative sides that people try to put us into. But don't allow that. Only believe the truth, and don't believe the lies of what the world is going to tell you. So I'm going to read last thing, this has been not by Nelson Mandela, in a speech that he gave, written by Marianne Williamson, and I think it's powerful, I think it's just amazing. We'll share this. You've all heard of love your neighbor as yourself, right? Most of the time we stop at the first half, love your neighbor, because we're women, we're caring, we're nurturing, we wanna help others, we wanna give to the poor, we wanna do all these things and help others, but we so often forget as yourself. So love who you are, who you're created to be, not in an egotistical way, but just in who you are, all right? So love who you are. And when you change your choices, you change your life, so we talked about that. And here's this quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Well, actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. When your family and your friends see you choosing yourself, when they see you taking charge and going for your dreams and making those changes, you're giving them permission to do the same. You're showing your daughters it's okay to go for your dreams. You're showing your sons, how it is to be in a household like that. So they look for women in their lives that are going to have those same attributes. So I always like to close anything that I do with this saying myself, is that life is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. So choose wisely, choose you, and go out and make a difference in your world. And thank you for being here today. And I do have a conference coming up in August, the first weekend in August. We have the flyers here. If you want to come to Vegas, come on, we're going to have a good time. Come Shine Your Divine. That's the name of the theme is Shine Your Divine. So thank you so much for being here. Your last class of the day. I'm very honored. Thank you. You can take your pink things and put them on your mirror to remind yourself every day of how amazing you are.
And I wanted to encourage you to hand in your evaluation form, and then I will give you one of these slips. But, this is very important so that we can kind of know what else to do for the following year, kind of
Yeah, I think that's a
evaluation
great
of the
thing.
classes. So it would help the board tremendously.
Where do we
Take
put
the
that?
time, give it to me,
Oh,
and then I'll turn it in.
oh, good.
Or I think there's a place up front in the office, like in the entrance.
They
that
usually
you
have
put-
a spot.
Yeah,
It's
but
good
I
to just
encourage you
turn it
to
here.
turn it in because it helps them make better choices for us.
Yeah, you do go over.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yes.
Wow, well, that's good, right? And the way I can see it, everything went very
Yeah.
smoothly today, and I was in a couple of classes, and they were amazing.
And they've been doing it for 23 years.
Is that right? 23? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
did you say you were, wow, 17, okay, some of the 17,
Didn't we have it last year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you probably
This is my
missed
first year, so.
20 and 21, right? Probably did not have it 20 and 21 this year.
20, they still had it because it was in March, it was the beginning of March, right
Oh, before it was.
closed down.
Oh.
But then not in 21.
On top of that, we didn't have very high numbers here.
Yeah.
It was low numbers because of,
But the one thing, as far as COVID goes, we never really hit a point here in Kanab that I know of.
Oh, with the other.
we didn't
Yeah.
have high cases first, so.
Oh, yes, so the books and workbooks are 15 each, or, this is the deal, right, $20 for both. If you want the book and the workbook, it's $20. And I do have Zelle, or, Zelle, or Venmo, or Cash App, whatever.
Exchange you.
It's good to see you.
Yes, it was.
Perfect. Thank you, thanks thanks for being here, I appreciate it. I see you with money in your hand, you must be coming up again, both of these? So, yeah.
Yeah, I just.
Well, you know what, why don't you, get my phone number is around and stuff, just give me a call. I would love that. And you live here? What is your name?
Nothing, I need to come, we changed.
That's great.
It forces me out.
Yeah.
And I am out in the back. All these comments.
I know. Thank you for coming in.
I don't think I ever go to store. And me, I've always been kind of a girl that I'd accept. You brought it out. I've been, I feel that we were so totally opposite families. It didn't help me a lot to get out and do. That's what I wrote down on my meeting thing, because I am too tired.
Thanks for coming.
I just don't like.
Oh, yeah, you. So am I'm never gonna know you. Same here. No, it's like, why would you?
I thought I recognized one stuff.
Yeah, and you know, Mary Kay makes the best bags
I do,
ever.
I know, you're.
So I just keep using them, and pink's my favorite color. Well, good for you.
Today, but yes.
Well, nice. So you've been a consultant and.
I know.
I didn't say you were in them. Yeah, and you know, and that's what the beauty is, and you know what's so cool? If I today wanted to go back as a consultant, I mean, I still am, but if I wanted to start working it, I could just do it. Nobody would say, oh, no, you haven't been doing anything. Oh, no, so it really is a nice thing. Well, good for you, continued success. All right, have a good rest of the weekend, thank you.
So much.
Be the last one here.
You can have the jug it goes in.
Well, you know, I got this at the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Because, I realized I had forgotten something, and I thought, what a good dude, to carry 8 bowls to the wash.
Yeah, that's what I was
don't think
thinking,
so.
so I guess we're gonna carry the bowls and hope we don't spill them, right?
So they were so nice, I did this at a church not too long ago, and, I did wind up having to carry bowls, and I made the mistake of getting big bowls, so finally I went and found one of those pusher things.
Oh.
I was like, this was crazy.
And then you get your stuff.
It was a great conference.
Yeah, they did an amazing job, I think.
Very thorough.
I need to go find me some helpers, cause for my event, like right now, there's like 3 of us making all the decisions on it. You know, I think I need
You need
helpers,
some, yeah, good ideas.
cause y'all had so many, like, people at the dinner the other night, I thought, wow, this is impressive.
Yeah, and it's been going long enough that the same people in the community, as far as support, the sponsors and things, are just like, yep, it's Women's Forum, we reserved, you know, they start putting in their budget to
Isn't that
contribute
nice?
toward it and everything, so
That's wonderful.
it's.
That's what I really like
Yeah,
about.
I'm only on my
being here.
7th, I'm thinking, I'm gonna, what it's gonna be like when I'm 20, right?
That's awesome.
Thank you, have a wonderful evening.
Enjoyed it, people turned them in.
Yeah, they did, well, I think it helped to have it just do it right then, and that you would take it, you know?
Yeah. Because, yeah, I've been afraid to go to, I'm not interested in reading, cause I don't want anybody to read my stuff, so. Is this yours?
That is mine, yeah.
I was so excited when I walked up to that desk and I saw your book, I said, that's what I want.
Oh, that's so nice of
And
you.
wow, a lot of people in our church won.
Oh, is that right?
There was a lot of people, I
that is awesome. Okay, that was the most weirdest, I have to say. I've never done the same speech 3 times. I've done 3 speeches, they were all 3 different. But this third time, and there are a couple of things, it's like, I just had no idea, I already said this. I don't wanna be redundant, you know, to somebody. Okay, so this one, all my little things over here. And I'm gonna put my candy in a bag and you can have your bowl, thank you for bringing it.
You're welcome. Oh, you want to keep them over there? Do you want me to just put the pink notepad on top of it?
Yes, that is just perfect. Wanna take some candy home with you?
No, thank you. Well, my granddaughter that has a rare genetic disorder, she loves chocolate, so we try to keep it out of the house.
Oh, gotcha.
And I always tell her that I was getting a healer, she always 2-7, I was like, when's it gonna do? I said, I don't know, you need to be expecting. Just keep expecting it to come. And Hot House Sisters that are coming, the one that was the head of our Christian education at church, she went to Grapevine Fellowship, like, over the last year.
Oh, wow.
And, she got MS, my husband has MS, she has MS, and she was expected, and she was healed.
Is that right?
Yes. And after that, matter of fact, I went after she'd been healed, and she did her first triathlon.
Oh my
I
gosh,
think she was,
wow.
I think she was 58 or 60. And so I went back for her first triathlon, and I was like, that's awesome. So she had a shirt made, and swim, bike, run, and then on the back she had a silhouette of a woman praising the Lord, and because God healed me, and that's why she did triathlons.
Oh, wow.
She even did a half Ironman. I said,
You know, it just shows you, so sometimes it really is our lack of belief or our belief. You know, sometimes we don't because our belief is just not strong enough. You
Exactly.
know, but you always have to like, Lord, thy will be done. If you're able to heal me, great, if
Heaven
not,
on earth.
yeah, done on, exactly, you're right. Okay, that little box goes in here if you don't mind. I'm gonna have to go out in my car and get my wagon. And this is your lunch, don't forget your stuff up here.
That was my granddaughter, she didn't finish it, so. So I took it. And I, picture my book is
Right. Well, and you know, when you finish it and everything, if you have any comments or if there's, you know, I love feedback. So,
Okay.
you know, if it's something that touches you, if you have a group at your church that would like to do a study together.
Well, that's
or-
what Tiffany said, is that we should do it as a group.
Yeah, and she's the one who wrote, just pretty much wrote the workbook.
Yes.
So I made some additions and she didn't,
You know, it's so funny because we did run in some of the same churches, but not at the same time, we didn't meet till here.
is that right?
Yeah, she went to ICLB and then, I think Holly went to Grapevine, so. You
It's
just
nice to
never
have those connections, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Matter of fact, I went to Bible study last Wednesday, and there was a gentleman that was from Las Vegas visiting, and he has a little dog with him and everything. So him and I were talking afterwards, and I said, well, I'm from Las Vegas, and I said, we went to Calvary Chapel, Las Vegas. He goes, oh, with Pastor Derek? I go, yeah, I miss Pastor Derek. I remember when I did my first 5K, my granddaughter was like 3rd or 4th grade, I can't remember what it was. And they're gonna barbecue afterwards, so that's there. So are they gonna have veggie dogs and hamburgers? He's going, no. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute, you know? So I kept bugging him, it was a while. So then the day of the barbecue, I got done with the 5K. And so I went over and they were grilling the burgers and everything, I said, hey, do you have veggie burgers? And they just looked at me weird, and also I'm like, okay, where is he? So I'm like hunting down, and all of a sudden he sees me coming across, he goes, no, we have them, we got them. So he went and got them, and then he came and thanked me afterwards, and he said, I didn't realize that it's not just people are doing it, there's other health reasons that people eat a vegetable burger.
Oh,
And I said, I thank you, he said, because we're completely out of them.
Oh, so it turned out to be, so he probably changed how he does his menus now.
Yeah, so he was like, wow, I never realized that. Well, it was nice meeting you,
Nice meeting you, and thank you for all your help
and,
and support and everything.
we'll see each other on the Friday gifts.
Oh, I probably won't be there, but
Yeah, well,
maybe.
well, I never go wood chest the ones in Vegas, you know, when it's live and everything, but sometimes I jump on a Friday and,
Oh, yeah, so you never know, we see, and maybe I'll see you in Vegas in
Maybe.
August, maybe, okay. Maybe it's good, I like maybe.
well, it's better than no.
Right, but I know everybody has things, I mean, I so get it, oh, I guess I should get mine.
Oh, better, yeah.
So you go ahead, I'm gonna run out to my car and get my wagon and carry all of that.
I'm gonna go to the front and turn these in.
All right, thank you, have a good rest of the weekend.
You too. You want me to go dump your water?
Huh?
You want me to go dump the water?
If you want to, but,
I'm going to, I'll just run back to you.
oh, you're so sweet, thank you. Now that is funny, this would be low battery.